Hello there, I'm going to get to know Patons metallic yarn. This is a new yarn in spring and summer of 2013. You can see more about it on their website, www.patonsYarns.com. PATONSYARNS.com. It's a shiny yarn, very shiny, and very soft. Has a wonderful feel. It is an 85-gram skein, or 3 ounces, and the fiber content is 63% nylon, 28% acrylic, and 9% wool. Let's see what else. The color I have is metallic orange. It's kind of a copper, almost exactly the same color as a penny. It's a medium yarn. You use a size 8 knitting needle or 5mm. You'll get 20 stitches on a 4-inch square or a 10-inch square. If you use a crochet hook, you'd need to use a size H/8 5mm. You'll get 13 single crochets in a 4-inch square or a 10cm square. Hand wash, lay flat to dry, and each skein has 230 meters or 252 yards. So that's pretty good yardage. And like I said, it's very shimmery and very soft. I love the way it feels. And it still feels sturdy though. It feels like it would hold up well for a garment. Anyway, I got to the center of another skein so that I could start working with it and show you how it knits and how it crochets. And plus you can get a closer look of how it looks on the skein if you look at the end of the yarn. It has a center portion. I'm going to pull it loose so you can see it's got like wool that comes apart pretty easily if you pull through that center. But that wool center, I think it's wool anyway, is protected by this shimmery section on the outside. And the shimmery part is like a net all around. Hopefully you can see that. It's kind of hard to zoom in on it. It's wrapped around that center core, and the center core is black, and it kind of shows through, but not that much. It's a nice shimmery yarn. It has a good body to it. Okay, so I'm going to try knitting with it. So I'm going to move my yarn over here to the right so I can work with that. And let's see how it knits. I have a vintage plastic needle here. Try to see how it knits. Now, one thing I would recommend when knitting with this yarn or crocheting with it is that if you have snags on your fingernails, be sure to file those away because they'll catch on this yarn very easily because of how soft it is and shimmery. It'll catch hold of snags in your finger and it'll pull the fiber loose and make a mess. You don't want that to happen. So file those nails so they're really smooth. There. And it feels good when I'm knitting. It went on the needle pretty well. So let's see how it knits for the first row. First row is always hard with any yarn. It's feeling pretty good. I would say that it might be easy to split this yarn if you have very pointy needles. But the ones I'm using have a blunt tip, so I'm not splitting it. It's working well. But pointy needles I think would probably tear into this yarn. And as you can see, I'm a slow knitter. I can knit kind of fast if I want to, but I prefer not to because I have arthritis. And if I knit fast, then I end up hurting. I don't want to hurt. Pain is a bad thing. Okay. So the way I cast them on, you see I just started with a loop. It probably would have been smarter if I had started with a slip knot for this yarn. Some yarns work fine with me just starting with the yarn hanging over the needle, but this one doesn't work very well like that. So I need to remember for the next project I knit, I should start with a slip knot to secure it and make it more the size of the needle. It kind of worked itself out for the next row, but still. I think a slip knot would be a better choice. So it's knitting nice. It's smooth. It's just slipping through. I'm not having any trouble getting the yarn to go in there. Now I am kind of splitting it if I'm not careful, so take your time with it like I am. You should be in good shape. I wonder if this were worked on a knitting machine, if it might snag. That would probably be an issue. So I think it works better with hand knitting. So it's working good, but that first loop I made is hanging too loose, so I should have made a slip knot. That would have made this fabric look better. Now I'm going to purl a row, see how that feels. I love this color. And I think metallic is a good name for it because it does look like metal. It is so shiny. I think that this yarn would be perfect for making a slinky tank top. If I was young and if I went dancing at clubs, I would definitely use this to knit myself a sexy top. But I'm not young and I don't go dancing at clubs. So it won't work like that for me. It would be nice for me to make a nice shiny clutch for an evening out. That would be nice. This would be perfect for that. Make a nice little shiny purse. Wouldn't that be pretty? A nice shiny clutch for the holidays. That would be awesome. So it knits well. I like the fabric it makes, and it purls well. My last stitch is still hanging kind of loose. Live and learn. So the next time I try working with this, I'll start with a slip knot. I like the look of the yarn. I have heard some people say that they don't like the fact that the inner core kind of shows through the yarn. They wish that the inner core was dyed the same color as the outside of the yarn. But it doesn't look bad to me. I think it just adds to the metallic look of the fabric. I think it's nice. So there you go. Now you can see what the fabric looks like. It's very shimmery. It'd be good to make a costume for a soldier out of this. It'd be nice and soft, but it would still look like metal. That'd be awesome for stage. Okay, now I'm going to try to crochet with this yarn and see how that works. It unravels very easily from knitting. Now let's try crochet. I'm going to start with a little slip knot for that. Where's my, oh, there it is. I'm using a size H crochet light hook, because that's the recommended size. And for me, this yarn feels a little bit thinner than your average yarn that would call for an H hook. So I'm thinking that it might work well with a size G hook, or with size 7 knitting needles instead of size 8. So it might be fun to experiment with that and see how it does. But I'm not working well with this. I'm making my loops too big. I'm used to crocheting loosely because of the yarns that I'm used to working with. With this being a slinky yarn, I need to crochet a little more tightly, not let the yarn slip out of my finger too easily. So my grip here in my left hand, I think I'm going to have to change. I'm going to have to wrap it around my pinky to secure it a little so it'll be tighter in that left hand. There, that's going to work better, I think, because it was kind of slipping too much before. So my chains are a little inconsistent because of the way I was holding the yarn in my left hand. So I had to wrap it. Usually I don't wrap it down there. Usually I just hold it like this and I put that finger under, but that was not enough with this yarn. I'm going to have to wrap it to get a more firm grip on that slippery yarn. You might have to do the same. So now I'm going to go back and knit under one loop to make some single crochets. I don't know why I said knit. I do that. Do you ever do that? Do you ever call crochet knit? What's wrong with me? Uh-oh, I did it wrong. I have to let that one go. Oop. Try again. Try again. There. That's better. So now I'm going to have to wrap it around my pinky again. I'm not used to holding yarn that way. That's the way I used to hold the yarn when I crocheted back when I was younger. And then I had to relax my grip as I got older because of my arthritis. So for this yarn, I'm going to have to remember to hold it snug in my left hand so I have good tension so it doesn't slip away, because it's such a slippery yarn. There we go. So it's a little fiddly for crochet. I actually preferred the way that it knitted. Since it's so slippery, it makes it a little hard for this first row of crochet. It might be easier on the second row, so I'm not going to give up on it yet. Let's try. I'm almost finished with this row, and you see how slow I'm working because of my arthritis. So if you're a fast crocheter, I'm sure it'll be easier for you. Uh-oh, I went too tight there. There. So now I'm going to try the next row, and the inner core of the yarn is showing through a little bit more with crochet than it did with knitting. I think I like the look of the fabric better with knitting. Okay, let's try this first stitch. There. So it works with crochet, but I think I prefer knitting with this yarn. But I think it does make a nice fabric with the crochet. And I think after I would get used to working with it, it would be easier to crochet. And once again, be sure to file your fingernails and your fingers so they don't snag the yarn. Because I can feel my fingers kind of snagging it a little bit already. I love the way it looks. So I think it's kind of worth the extra work to get the final result. And I think that after working with it for a while, I would start to get a better flow than I have right now. I love to watch it work. It's just so slippery and shiny and pretty. I think that was the last one. Yep, that was the last one. So now you've seen me knit it and you've seen me crochet with the Patons metallic yarn. I like it, but I do think I prefer knitting instead of crochet. So there you go. I hope you enjoy trying this yarn yourself. It feels wonderful, and I think it would make a beautiful garment. It would be nice to make a clutch, like I said before, a nice soft clutch. It would make a nice shrug, or I guess it could make a good scarf too, but I think it'd be better as a garment, me personally. Trying to think of what else it would be good for. It could be used as trim on a sweater. If you didn't want to use this for the whole sweater, you could put this on the like the buttonhole edge or something, or around the neckline of a top. That would be nice, but I still think it'd make a nice tank top for dancing. So there you go, Patons Metallic. See you soon. Bye.